Welcome back into Against the Suits, the gambling arm of the Hard Count here on the On3 YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. We're giving out winners. Got back on the right side of things last week. We had a little bit of a schneid, if you will, but we got back to 4-2 last week. We're looking to keep that kind of momentum going on the year, 37-29. If you're new to the show, it's 5 picks plus an at-your-own risk at the end of this thing, meaning we think you should go with this pick, but if you're like, it's a little bit risky for me, then you're more than welcome to sit that one out. But let's waste no more time. Again, make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're subscribed. As always, presented by BetMGM. First play. Not a double play, even though the play is going to be happening within a baseball stadium. Michigan and Northwestern at Wrigley Field. Listen, Northwestern, they're allowing 5 yards a carry. Michigan's averaging 6. They run it 60% of the time. 12.5. Take that to the bank, favoring the Wolverines. Listen, we're just looking at the numbers here, man. The numbers are screaming at you. Michigan is the play. Now, it may not be a first half, make you feel great about that play in the first half, but it might be a thing where you get to the third quarter, fourth quarter. Michigan does what Michigan does, and it can just squeeze the life out of Northwestern. We'll take Michigan to cover that 12.5. As always, we feel great about doing that. All right, now Georgia and Texas getting after it in Athens, under the lights. Number is 48.5 in this game when it comes to the total. I'll take the over there. Both offenses kind of finding their stride. If you've watched this show, you know we are first-team all-gunner. Stockton deserves some Heisman love than Arch Manning. Very quietly finding his footing. Over 300 yards the last 2 games. People saying should Sark give up play calling, and they're just, that was a ridiculous take to begin with. Here's the thing. I don't trust Georgia to totally stop Texas. In the same breath, I don't trust Texas to totally stop Georgia, which is how we find ourselves at the over. So 48.5, far too low. Both offenses running far too hot. We'll take the over 48.5 in this game, especially with Texas in desperation mode and the way that Georgia has been gettable over the course of the season on the back end. I get it's November, Georgia, so there could be a switch flipped of sorts, but I do think that over gets hit in 48.5 in Athens. Now, here's where it gets a little bit gross, and we don't apologize for it. If you've watched this segment of this show, you know that we love our first quarter unders. I don't have the official numbers in front of me, but I'll tell you this. We've been pretty good on our first quarter unders. Notre Dame and Pitt, 12.5. It's too high, man. It's too high. Now, I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. The game total's 55.5, I believe, and y'all actually kind of like that number. Not putting it down as a play, but if you want to do it, more power to you. I just think we see a little bit of a slow start here. It's Pittsburgh, so you'd expect the weather to be a little bit chilly. Whenever there's chilly weather, what does that mean? It takes a second for your car to get all the way warmed up, get the frost off the windshield, get the muscles a little bit activated here. So my question is, can Notre Dame get 2 stops? Same deal for Pitt. Can they just get 1 stop? Because I think to say it's going to be 12.5 means that you're telling me there's going to be 2 touchdowns in that first quarter. That feels a little bit generous to me. Okay, so I'll take the under in that first quarter of 12.5 in Notre Dame and Pitt, and then I'll also take the under in Michigan State and Penn State. That first quarter totals at 10.5. Here's the analysis for you. Both offenses kind of suck, all right? So I don't trust them to score more than 10 points in the first quarter combined, all right? You're telling me there's going to be more than a touchdown and a field goal by both teams? I don't think so. A lot of clock to be used up by both sides, and I'll take the under in 10.5 in Penn State going to East Lansing, playing Michigan State. Go ahead and lock in that first quarter under. Now, this last pick before at your own risk kind of breaks my heart a little bit, Michael Adiel. Before the year, I flirted with the idea of having South Carolina in the college football playoff. 9-3 a year ago. Lenore Sellers is arguably the most talented player in college football, not named Jeremiah Smith. Maybe he just JanSports his entire team past that 9-3 mark, get them to 10-2, 10-2 in the SEC. We thought before the year would get you to the college football playoff, and y'all, it hasn't gone that way. Hasn't gone that way for our friends in Columbia, South Carolina. I still love Lenore Sellers. I still love Shane Beamer. I think Nicholas Harbor's got all the potential in the world, but here's the thing, man. A&M is a wagon. And South Carolina's got to go to College Station and play a hot A&M team. It feels a little bit to me like South Carolina had that last gasp against Alabama. Ole Miss put the belt to them a little bit there. Texas A&M minus 19.5. I think South Carolina might be out of gas. The wheels might be coming off in Columbia. So with it being a road game, I don't love that. South Carolina, my heart is with you. However, my wallet is with Texas A&M and the 19.5 the Aggies are getting at the crib. Now, our at your own risk pick, a little bit spicy here. I have been, for the majority of the year, saying USF to the playoff as the G5 rep. USF to the playoff as the G5 rep. The Fighting Alex Golishes, they'll find a way. Give me the ranked wins over Boise State, the ranked win over Florida. Here's the thing, man. It was Veterans Day this week. And you got to go play a couple of future veterans, a whole group of future veterans actually, at their place, a Marine Corps Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland. Navy plus 10. Y'all, I'll take Navy money line, honestly, but I'll go ahead and give out Navy plus 10. The discussion here for me when I break down this game is, well, USF, they run the football really effectively. Navy hasn't been that great stopping the run this year, but here's the thing. Who carries the football? A lot for USF. And Byron Brown. Quarterback run game, a big part of what USF does. Who practices 11 days during the week against the quarterback run? Navy. I think Navy has something cooked up. I like them to cover the 10. That's the pick I'm giving, but if you want to be a little bit extra bold supporting the veterans this weekend and take Navy money line, that's where I'm rolling as well. So we'll take Navy plus 10 with the at-your-own-risk pick. To keep us within the lines here, you know, we get a little bit worked up on this side of things behind the mic, so to keep us all as best we can on the logical side of things, our very own producer of the Hard Count, Caden Smith, you might know him as Cato, going to tell us where he's fading, where he's following on these 6 picks. Cato, I think I already know one of your leans here when it comes to the at your own risk, but go ahead and just let us know what you're feeling here, brother, because we got worked out. Let me know what you're thinking on this this card.
Yeah, JD, mixed bag here. It's a hard week. It's November. Just hard to evaluate some of these lines, if I'm being honest. But Michigan versus Northwestern, I love the Wolverines covering there. I think I would love the under on that one as well. I believe it's around 42 points. Both of these teams, I think, are just going to run the ball. I think Michigan, if they want to make a statement here and get some momentum rolling into Ohio State, they might be more intentional about giving Northwestern the business here. But even if not, I still think they could win by 2 touchdowns, and it wouldn't be too hard for them. Northwestern's got improved a ton, but I just don't think they have anything to handle the Michigan rushing attack, and I think that Michigan defense is really rounding into form. Georgia, Texas over 48.5. That one, man, I'm on the fence. It's a borderline stay away for me, but I think if I had to lean one way, I would follow you there just because both defenses haven't been super consistent. Only thing that worries me is the flashbacks of the game last year where Georgia was absolutely terrorizing Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning even when he got in the game. But I think it's pretty clear that both of these teams are very different. I think there's more upside in this over because Gunnar Stockton pretty much week in and week out. Last week, Georgia hit this by themselves, and I think even worst-case scenario, if this is a lopsided one, Texas can maybe get some garbage time scores, and Georgia can handle their end of the bargain. I'm a little more concerned about Georgia, Texas rather handling their end of the bargain, but Texas's defense has been revolving door 2 straight weeks, and they're playing a much better offense in Georgia. So I'll lean over there with you. First quarters, both of them, I'll ride with you. You have the hot hand. Dude. You have the hot hand here. You know this bet. You've unlocked a cheat code of sorts. Some people are saying on certain corners of the internet with the first quarter under. The one that does scare me the most is the Pitt Notre Dame one, obviously, because Pitt's head coach Pat Narduzzi this week said himself that he doesn't care if he gets 100 points scored on him this week. So that one scares me a little bit more. Penn State, Michigan State, though, classic Big Ten matchup. Any given year, this is probably a good bet, but this one in particular, just given the trajectory of both of these teams offensively, good play there. 19.5 versus South Carolina, Texas A&M. I'm going to fade you there. South Carolina is bad. They actually have the worst scoring offense in the SEC this year, which is kind of jarring, especially considering who they have playing at quarterback. But they haven't gotten blown out like this, especially on the road. They've just played in weird games this year. They have a weird genre of game. For some reason, the top opponents they played that are ranked just as high, not as high, but right there in the mix with Texas A&M and an Alabama and an Ole Miss, they just didn't play their best ball against South Carolina. I don't know what it is, but it's not necessarily that South Carolina was doing anything super effective, but teams just aren't really putting them away the way you would think. The only team that really did that in the SEC this year was Vanderbilt when Diego Pavia just went off when Lenore Sellers got hurt at halftime.
Yeah.
20 for the SEC in a team like South Carolina. I know their record's bad, but just looking at their box scores, it's a little too rich for my blood. I think the flip side of this and the thing you're probably thinking here is Texas A&M just put belt to cheeks to Missouri, and their roster is much better than South Carolina's roster. So I see the play here. I'd probably lean stay away, but that's just too big of a number for me, so I'll fade you here just to keep you honest. But as you know, And I hate that you took such a military Veterans Day angle to this because it makes me seem like un-American to bet against this. But USF's a wagon, man. I think Navy's record up until this point was very much propped up by not playing any good teams, frankly. In the last 2 weeks, Navy has played good teams in North Texas and Notre Dame, and those are extremely lopsided losses for them, 31-17 and 49-10. USF is much closer to those teams than the Temples, Air Forces, and Rices on their schedule. I think USF covers this with ease. I think their offense is way too dynamic, and I think if Navy doesn't handle their business on offense, it gets into a slippery slope. This is a USF team that put up 60 points on North Texas, and North Texas put 30 up on Navy. I just think the style here is like oil and water, and I think it's going to favor USF. I get that they are very familiar with the quarterback run game, but they have not played a quarterback like Byron Brown this season. It's not head and shoulders above everyone else they've played. So I'll do a friendly wager head-to-head with you here, honestly. I think that this is going to be easy work for USF.
Let me see if Blake Horvath's playing or not. Let me just get a little pulse on what's going on with
Blake Horvath, Blake Bortles, Blake Shelton. I don't care who's playing quarterback for Navy this week, man. USF's about to give them the work. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take South Florida covering this one for sure. That's going to be a wager that I'll make shortly after this recording.
Gosh, all right.
It's a risk, though. It's at your own risk. And you know what?
Yeah, exactly. It's at your own risk.
If you're right, then like it's a dub for America, and I'd gladly be wrong. Consider that a donation to our Navy. You know what I mean? If I lose this bad boy, but I think USF's got that playoff glimmer in their eye. They're ranked. Like I think this is going to be what it's going to be. But you never know, man. You can never doubt.
You can't.
That Navy militant mindset, man. You can't doubt it. But I'm going to this week.
Anchors away, my dear. Anchors. I'm hoping we hear a lot of that.
We'll see.
We hear a lot of that.
We'll see.
We'll see. I want to backtrack really quickly though to something you said about A&M South Carolina.
Sure.
That is one of those games that, as much as I am believing in this play, the momentum behind A&M and the discussion around A&M, and you're seeing the stuff on social media about Marcel Reed and Chance and him being a Heisman guy, and just I worry a little bit about how good A&M looks, because we see in college football nobody has a perfect season to the degree of you bring your fastball every single week. So there is a part of me that's wondering, like, is there a boogeyman game for A&M that's going to jump out of nowhere? And maybe I don't think they lose to South Carolina. That would shock me in just all levels. But if they maybe look a little bit lackluster, Lenore Sellers looks how he did against Bama. He's running the football, and like, there's a world where that absolutely happens. So A&M minus 19.5. Feel good enough to make it a play, but everything you're saying about fading it, I think, is absolutely a fair game.
Yeah, interesting spot for sure. We talked about it earlier this week on the show, like Ole Miss and South Carolina, or Ole Miss and A&M rather, in that weird spot where they're feeling good closing out the season, and now they're playing two teams that eliminated them from the playoff last year, and now they're playing them at home with huge spreads as favorites. So it's like those two games are borderline stayaways for me just because the SEC is so unpredictable. Like you would think that, okay, Ole Miss, A&M, super motivated from last year. They have everything to play for right now. Is your spot in the playoff almost like guaranteed? Yeah, but like you have to prove a point to this team that beat you last year. You're doing it at home. But are you proving the point to the 20-point, 30-point degree in the SEC? Like that's kind of the toss-up there. So I'd stay away from them. Those are honestly – those two plays would be more risky than your at-your-risk play, in my opinion.
Let's go.
But
okay.
If we get some good games out of it, I'd be excited because it's a weird month, man. I feel like November gets weird in general, and I think a lot of the teams that are just like willing to just out of nowhere give you like a surprise game. There's usually no shortage of it this month, so you never know. Some of the top teams might get tested, same way Penn State tested Indiana last week, and it'd be good for the drama, but we also want it to be good for our pockets, right? So we'll see, man. I'm rooting for all these bets, obviously, except for that at your own risk. So 4-2, we're back on the winning train. I wouldn't put an undefeated week past us. Maybe one loss in that Navy game.
We need one, man. We need to get one of those unblemished weeks. We were close in week one, didn't happen, and then I was like, oh, it's going to happen here in the next couple of weeks, and it's just we've been chasing it. It's been elusive. We've been chasing it. Maybe, like you said, Cato, maybe this is the week. Should be fun, though. A fun weekend, regardless. Cato, great stuff on the ones, the twos, and the microphone, and keeping us as best we can within the lines of logic when it comes to where we're placing our money with BetMGM this upcoming weekend. We appreciate y'all being dialed in. Fade or follow, your prerogative. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all. Thank you.